Phil, good to have you with us. Let me just talk to you about Hayward stepping down. It's expected to be in October, and some say it's about time, and really it's not soon enough. What do you think of this management shakeup?
Well, I think it was something that we had to expect because he was at the helm when this disaster took place. I actually thought it was a little bit earlier that he's leaving than I had originally anticipated because I thought it would be after the spill had stopped. I mean, right now it has stopped, but it's not a permanent solution yet. But it is something that I think had to happen because one of his mandates when he took over the company was to improve safety, and he really hasn't done that when we see an incident like this.
Okay, and what do you think shareholders are feeling when they hear reports that we have Tony Hayward possibly getting a pay and pension package worth about $10 million and then getting a nice board seat on a subsidiary of BP, TNK BP possibly?
That pension award is at least in part function of the fact that he worked for the company for 28 years, but yet I can still see shareholders being upset when he gets to continue with the company and gets this nice payout after the company's losing billions of dollars trying to take care of this spill.
Okay, so what is next for BP here, Phil? I mean, we're expecting earnings later on today. We're expecting, in fact, the worst quarterly loss for any British corporate in history here. Do you think BP will be able to circum this?
Yes, I do. I think that it's going to take time, but ultimately I think that BP has a strong enough base of assets and a strong enough financial position going into this and a strong enough resource profile that it should be able to survive in the long term.
Even though we have the market value down around 40%, it's interesting that you're still saying hold. In fact, when you look up the stock, only one lone sell among analysts. What is the selling point right now for the share price? We're looking at target prices of still $45, so there's still upside expected for BP.
In my opinion, taking a short-term view towards BP right now is really a difficult thing to do because there's still a lot of unknowns. So I think taking a short-term view on the stock is really speculating because there's too many things we don't know. Over the longer term, I'm more willing to have a positive view of the stock, but in the short term, there's just too much that I don't know for me to take that position.
Yeah, you're saying it's a buy call over the next 5 years or in 5 years from now. What do you think is going to change from here on?
I think that one of the things that has to happen, and I'm hoping that Dudley can accomplish this, is that the culture of the company has to change. It seems this company has a culture of cutting corners at times in order to save money and not always making safety a priority. And companies like Exxon have shown that you can have a good safety record and deliver solid financial performance. I think that has to be number one, as well as stopping this, making sure that we have a permanent stop to the leak in the Gulf and then cleaning it up and making the right financial reparations for those that are affected.
Now, do you think BP is going to have to sell off more assets? We had Adam Johnson talking about assets in South America and elsewhere across the globe. We had BP selling off some to Apache. What's going to happen next for them? Are they going to be selling off their assets piecemeal from here on?
I do expect further asset sales. Back in June, they said they were going to sell about $10 billion worth of assets. The Apache transaction accounts for $7 billion, but I think that ultimately they'll exceed that target. But something we have to remember is that companies like BP have really strong asset bases and have a lot of non-core assets that are really not integral to their future that are worth more in the hands of somebody else. The Apache deal is a good example of that, where Apache, those are much more meaningful to them. They can go and exploit them and probably get more out of them than BP would because they're not as material to BP. So I think that we can have more things like some of those things that Adam was talking about.
Okay, Phil, nice talking to you.